Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing a review on this Caramel Sundays 2-wick 22-ounce candle in the scent Milk and Fruit Loops. Just so that you're aware, it does list 22 ounces, but I believe that the fill weight is closer to 17 to 18 ounces. The fragrance notes list top citrus, middle cherry, orange, base vanilla, sandalwood. In terms of what I get, I definitely pick up on a citrus note, which I'm almost pretty sure it's a bright yellow lemon. Maybe not necessarily a Meyer lemon. I'm thinking a little bit more of a Eureka lemon. A Meyer lemon is a little bit rounder and it's a cross between a mandarin and another citrus. So cherry, I was also a little bit worried that it would lean a little bit artificial cough syrup, but that's definitely not the case. Orange, I think that just adds another layer to that citrus nuance that's really high at the top. Vanilla, I think that is supposed to introduce that lactonic, cold milk essence. But to me personally, I don't really pick up on a lactonic note. Sometimes when I kind of like really think about it, I do, but this just mainly smells like a lemon forward scent. The sandalwood, I'm not sure where that went because I don't really get that. There's not like a creamy sandalwood scent. It's definitely not the woody sandalwood either. So I think that's just added to maybe bring in a little bit of like a cozy comfort feel and maybe tone down the sharpness of the lemon because I feel like if you dislike lemon scents, this might lean a little bit too lemon zesty for you. But anyways, besides getting a ton of citrus, I feel like on cold and while burning, I barely pick up on that lactonic milk nuance. In terms of the brand name cereal Fruit Loops, I want to say that when I had that when I was younger, I got more of a berry note, and it wasn't as like bright as this candle smells. So I don't think it's a 100% dupe, but I think that's more personal preference. Overall, this is definitely a very happy fragrance. I think I skipped over the packaging, but it's just your typical Caramel Sundays label with pretty cursive writing, a small little photo. The last time that I ordered, they did not list the fragrance notes. Now it's really, really small, a little bit hard to read, but they are listed in the front. So you are able to reference back when you're burning candles or, you're going through your collection or stash if you have one. On cold, I'm happy to report that this is an 8 out of 10. So it was really strong. I want to say this is the strongest Caramel Sundays candle that I've had. I haven't had too many, but this definitely beats the cake. And spoiler, I think it's also the strongest candle I've had while burning as well. One thing I have to say though, that sometimes with candles, after you burn it once or twice, when you go to resmell the wax, it's almost as if the scent has disappeared and gone away. And I like that this candle, after it resolidifies, after you burn it, it still smells exactly the same as when you first received the candle, which is something that I really appreciate because sometimes I feel like those first one or two burns kind of took away the fragrance. So I like that the scent integrity remains the same. Now, in terms of the scent, one thing that I do have to say is that this almost smells like a single fragrance oil. If you're familiar with Bender wax, I feel like I have smelled this exact same scent. It could be that they maybe added like another citrus blend or something, but this smells a lot like for certain wax vendors, they have a Fruit Loops. What's another word? Fruity Hoops, cereal killer. I know one vendor does that. So it just smells like a single fragrance oil. And that one typically always performs and it is very strong. I don't know if this is considered like a house blend or this blends other fragrances together, but I mainly just pick up that single fragrance oil. Again, I don't know if it's mixed with something else, but I do just want to mention that. All right, so here's an overhead view of my candle. Currently, I've had this candle burning for about 2 hours. To briefly talk about my first burn, I did not trim my wicks, and I felt like I started smelling this candle almost immediately after about 20 minutes or so. There are no issues with this candle at all whatsoever. The wicks do slightly curve a little bit, but they don't curve into the wax and they do not self-extinguish. So it's not like I leave the room and then I come back and then one flame is gone. So no real issues there. The projection, I would have to say it's not as great as the strength. So I would give the projection maybe a 6.5 out of 10 because while it fills up my medium-sized bedroom very nicely, I can always smell it. There are no pockets of fragrance in my room. It's evenly distributed. But past my bedroom, I don't really pick up much on it, and I think it has to do with the fact that this is, to me, lemon forward. So normally, citrus scents act more as a top note and they tend to disappear a bit quickly, at least in my experience. The strength, on the other hand, I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I have not burned this in a hurricane, so it might be a little bit stronger than that. So this is definitely noticeable. I think it's borderline strong in my opinion. And I would venture to say that this might even perform in an open concept space. I haven't tried that because I just don't burn in my kitchen living room area. Also, I don't know if it's the citrus note in here, but I almost felt like I could really feel the fragrance not sting my eyes, but it's almost as if like I sometimes felt like sneezing a little bit. So the fragrance is very apparent, is what I'm trying to say. Again, I am mainly picking up on that fragrance oil that I'm accustomed to on other vendors. I wish I got more of the lactonic or like the milky nuances, or perhaps more of the cherry and the orange. I mean, I don't want the sandalwood, so that's fine in that instance. So I have been trimming my wicks and I feel like there's not a real difference if I am a little bit more heavy handed with my wick trimming versus not. Yeah, I just don't really have an issue with anything. Like, even if I decide to not trim my wicks, I don't have any of those carbon ball fallouts in my wax pool. And I have been not dipping my wicks, but I do that swirl method. So, no issues there. The wax isn't discolored. I haven't noticed any instances of soot. And one time I accidentally left this on for about 5 hours and there were no plumes of smoke or anything like that. Overall, I feel like this is the best performing Caramel Sundays candle that I've picked up. Again, I haven't picked up many, but for it being a citrus dominant candle, it really does perform. As far as how long does it linger in the air, I would say like a good 30 minutes to an hour. I mean, this isn't a super heavy fragrance, so I wouldn't expect it to. It's not overly sweet. The only thing that I would have to say is that I feel like this isn't a 100% dupe of the Fruit Loop cereal, just because I personally get a ton of citrus. I feel like if it was Fruit Loops, that fragrance oil blended in with just a ton of citrus. Again, would I enjoy it if it had more berry notes? I'm not too sure. But anyways, to talk about other candles, let's say if you like those candles, you may or may not like this one. And that is Kringle's Lemon Sugar Marshmallow. I feel like that one has more of a pastry note, but the same type of like sharp lemon I pick up on in that candle that I do here. Again, I feel like Kringles leans a little bit more of like a baked scent. I know that the name has marshmallow, but I don't really pick up a ton of marshmallow. And surprisingly, this Caramel Sundays candle is stronger, in my opinion, in comparison to Kringle's Lemon Sugar Marshmallow. And also, I do have to say that Lemon Sugar Marshmallow from Kringle is a little bit sweeter. There's almost like this vanilla glaze in the Kringle candle. As far as Bath and Body Works, I can't really think of a candle that it's exactly like this, but overall, would I recommend this candle? Yes. I would have to say if you want a 100% dupe, I think this isn't really for you, but I think it'd be perfect for spring, summer, or just anytime you want like a fun, vibrant scent that performs well. Really happy that it actually, like performs. I can smell it. I'd even venture off to say that this could fill up an open concept space. Now, would I repurchase this candle? Yes, I think I would repurchase this candle. My sister has commented that she really likes the fragrance. She does pick up on a like vanilla note, but to her nose, it reads a little bit more like the pastry leaning cake. I don't really see that, but if I were to repurchase, I would repurchase maybe one for myself when I'm finished with this one, and one for my sister just because she really enjoys it. I have a feeling that she'd mix it with Kringle's Lemon Sugar Marshmallow, Heck, to add more citrus, you can mix it with Bath and Body Works' sugared lemonade, maybe sugared lemon zest. And perhaps if you want to mix it with another Kringle candle, you could burn it with Grandma's Lemonade if you pick that up from the limited edition collection. I think if I wanted it to lean a little bit more cereal, I'd probably burn it with, let's see, probably like cereal milk soft serve from Bath and Body Works, or maybe a vanilla candle just to really amplify that milk note that I'm a little bit lacking. But yeah, overall, this is a great candle. I'm really happy with my purchase, my experience. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.